Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing my album collection, and these are all the albums that I bought from being sort of really young-ish, sort of like 7 to 8 to now to 20 to what I am now. So some of the albums you'll see are not on my iTunes library before anyone judges some of the albums that will be in this collection. I just think it would be quite fun to look through music that I buy now to music that I used to buy. And there are loads of different albums on my iTunes that I may get round to reviewing at some other point. So my first one is Arctic Monkeys AM. So this is a pretty recent album, and as you can see they've got the AM on the front, and it took me ages to notice that because I was like, oh, that's an interesting album cover, and then I realised that it had got the little AM in the middle there. I was on the Arctic Monkeys hype pretty late, because when Arctic Monkeys first came out I hated them. I always used to be like, oh, I don't like Arctic Monkeys, like the style wasn't what I was into, and I think that's because I was a bit younger then and sort of was into all the chart music and didn't really branch out a little bit. So I bought this one because I just ended up listening to Arctic Monkeys. It must have been in a club or something, I can't remember how I got into them, and sort of really enjoyed their music, downloaded all their other albums, all the other albums on my iTunes, and picked up this one. So this one's kind of it's not my favourite one, but like some of the songs are really good. So I think the favourite ones are the ones that probably were released as singles. So Do I Want to Know, Are You Mine, Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High, and Snap Out of It, which is now a single that's just been released about a week or two ago. And I also like Knee Socks as well because that's got kind of really good rhythm on it. So all the songs are good, I just don't think it's the best album that they've done, but it's still very Arctic Monkeys. I think they changed the style a little bit, and then the inside there has just got all the band in, and I really do like the case designs like these. Apart from this one does get a little bit fingerprinty, but I do like the sleeker designs of the thinner ones. I just think it looks pretty cool. So my next one is Alicia Dixon's album. This is The Entertainer. I actually did used to quite like Alicia Dixon. She's not that bad, and I know a lot of people aren't really a big fan of her that I know. Again, this is not on my iTunes anymore because I kind of prioritise my music now, but this was quite an upbeat sort of disco-y sort of dance sort of album, and I think I enjoyed every track on there, so it's always good when you enjoy every track. And this was from 2010, so I was 15, 16 when this album came out. Yeah, there's not a lot I can really say about that one. I think my favourite tracks are Baddest Chick, Take Control, Drummer Boy, and On Top, I think. So that's pretty cool. That's Alicia Dixon. Next one is Alexandra Burke's Overcome album. So this was her first CD from when she came out of the X Factor from, was it 2009? So it's quite an old one, this one. I was really impressed with this actually, because I went to see Alexandra Burke live too. Really good live, but she needed to put a bit more songs in to make the concert a bit more longer. Again, I think I liked every track. I think the Bad Boys one with Flo Rida, which was a single, was the one that probably attracted me to the album, because it was just like such a good upbeat sort of song. But then you've got the ballads like The Silence, Overcome, and They Don't Know, and then Hallelujah, which is the bonus track, and the X Factor single that she did released. So it has a good range of dance pop songs to your ballad slow songs, which is what you expect from somebody like Alexandra Burke. Next one is Bastille, All This Bad Blood, and Bastille are in my top 5 for my favourite band. I think they're an absolutely incredible band, and I bought this one because I didn't have a chance to buy the Bad Blood album, and then I saw this one and it's the Bad Blood and the All This Bad Blood sort of all together, so it basically saved me a job of buying 2 albums. And I think it's just absolutely fantastic. I think every track is like on point. I don't think there's any track that I would say I hate, but I think the only one that I think is a little bit strange is the Previously on Other People's Heartache, because it just goes through every song that's been on the album. It's kind of just recapping it all, and it's kind of like, oh, I don't know if you really need that on there because we already know what's on there because we listen to it. But I suppose it's kind of a little bit quirky, and as I say, I'm into quirky things, so I suppose that's sort of what I'm into. But I think I can't even pick my favourite tracks because every track, as I say, is great. I really like Pompeii, Things Were Lost in the Fire, These Streets, The Weight of Living Part 2, Icarus, Daniel in the Den. And then off the disc 2, which is All This Bad Blood, I really like Poet. Poet's one of my favourites. Sleep Song again is one of my favourites. The Draw and What Would You Do. So there's a lot on there that are really decent. So hands down, Bastille's one of my top 5. This one, I don't think many people are going to know what this one is. This is the Britannia High soundtrack. So not many people probably know, but it was a programme on ITV quite a while ago, 2008. And it wasn't released for a second season because I don't think it got enough views, but it was kind of like a TV show about 5 people, like 5 friends that met at like a musical theatre school, and then it was like basically a musical show. So they had like storylines, like romances, and then you'd have songs in it in between that they'd perform at the music school sort of thing. And again, really good songs. I think the best ones, Start of Something, Best of Me, So High, Fight Song, all those. I do recommend you could give it a listen if you haven't heard, and if you're into musicals and things, I think that would be your type of thing. But again, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's not really going to affect me in any particular sort of way. But I just thought that's in my CD collection, so it's here. Right, my next one is Busted, and this is a present for everyone. And I think if you didn't know who Busted are, then I don't know where you've been, or you're too young to know who Busted are. But Busted were around sort of 2003, 2004, so when I was 10 and 11. So it's kind of like a long time ago. And I've just seen them as McBusted live, so McFly and Busted together. And I think this is a really good album, and I haven't got the other album that came out with like Year 3000 on and What I Go to School For. So the ones I like on here, the best, are Air Hostess, Crash the Wedding, She Wants to Be Me, That Thing You Do, and Nerdy. I think they're like my favourite ones. And Busted always have high sort of rocky sort of songs, which is what I want. And I wish Busted would reform properly as Busted, not as McBusted, because I just think that music is so sort of it makes you feel so good. Like, you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be that serious or anything. It just makes you feel really good. If you're having a bad day or whatever, you can just think, oh, I'm just gonna click Crash the Wedding on and just have a jam to myself. Because that's what I do sometimes. Even if I am 20, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. If you enjoy it, then listen to it, that's all. And the next one is my Busted live album, which is called Ticket for Everyone, and this was back in 2004. So again, I feel really, really old reviewing this one. That was a really good album, and it's got the extra ones from some of the others, so like What I Go to School For, Thunderbirds Are Go from the Thunderbirds film that they recorded for, Sleeping with the Light On, which again, Sleeping with the Light On is one of the really, really good sort of slower songs, but it's a really awesome song, that one. And so I wish I got to see Busted live before they broke up, because that would have been amazing. Next one is Cheryl Cole, and this is Messy Little Raindrops. Now, I was a fan of Cheryl Cole, like when she started doing her solo songs like Fight for This Love and Heartbreaker and that sort of thing. This album was actually really disappointing. I don't think there was any tracks that, apart from Promise This and The Flood, I think every other track I was not very impressed with. Like Yeah Yeah featuring Trevor McCoy, I was just like, why is that even on the album? Because that was just a pointless song. And like, the songs just seemed really bad quality on it. I don't know if it was just my copy or if it's because I downloaded some of them before the album came out, but a lot of them just seemed like really bad quality. And like the Better to Lie one with August Rico on it, again, why is that on the album? That is just an awful song. It's just, I don't know, and I hate giving bad reviews, but this one it just doesn't deserve a good review, because Cheryl, you haven't really done good on this album. I'm really sorry. So yeah, there's not a lot I can say about that, because most of it's not that great, to be honest. So if you do know this one and you've listened to it, I'd love to hear your comments, because I'd love to hear other people's opinions on it. Next one is my David Guetta, Nothing But The Beat. And I love David Guetta because all his songs are featuring people. He's got all his beaty songs. So you've got your vocal album first and then your electronic sort of album. And the ones I really like, probably all of them, to be honest. All of them are great songs because they're all different and they're all featuring different people. And the one I was really surprised with was the Turn Me On featuring Nicki Minaj, because Nicki Minaj actually sounds incredible in that song because she actually sings in it. I don't mind Nicki Minaj, I'm not a fan, can be a fan depending on what the song is, but that was really impressive, and I think that's the one that surprised me the most. And I think if you haven't heard that, go and just give it a listen, because you might be very surprised about Nicki Minaj in there. And the electronic album, again, they're all sort of different, so I can't really pick. They're just all really good, and I really enjoy David Guetta's music. And I also have his One Love album digitally on iTunes as well. This one's a little bit different from all the others. This is A Day to Remember, Common Courtesy, and this is pretty new. I bought this about a year ago. Yeah, it came out last year, so I bought it like a year ago. A Day to Remember, one of my favourite bands. I had the What Separates Me From You album digitally. I really enjoyed that one. So I was like, this one's got to be either better or just the same. And I think it is probably their best album to date so far. I really like every track on here. I can't pick my favourite. But if you are into sort of heavy, sort of rocky bands, and A Day to Remember is for you, because they're all sort of catchy, but they can be a little bit screamy, rocky. So that's why I'm saying if it's not for you, I wouldn't listen to it. But if you haven't had a listen to it yet, and you are a Day to Remember fan, why haven't you listened to it yet? Because it is absolutely incredible. So yeah, that is currently one of my iPod playlists, because it's just brilliant. So go and give it a buy, or download it, or sample it on SoundCloud, something like that. My next one is Ed Sheeran's Multiply, and if you watched my last video, you'll have seen me do a review of that already, so I'm not going to really say a lot about that. Apart from it's Ed Sheeran, it's absolutely fantastic, and you need to go and buy it really, because I've already reviewed this one, so I'm not going to spend too long on this one. My next one is Ed Sheeran's Plus. This is just a standard edition, because I didn't actually realise there was a deluxe edition till like a year after it had already been released. So I have already downloaded the digital copies of the deluxe one, but this is just the standard one. And I think, again, every track, but I really enjoy The City, You Need Me, I Don't Need You, Give Me Love, Kiss Me, and Grade 8. I think they're my favourite ones. And Ed Sheeran's just one of those artists that you listen to and you just like want to listen to forever. You just can't stop listening to him. And I saw him live back in 2012, and that was like so good. And unfortunately I haven't got tickets to see him this year, but I would hope to go and see him again. And he always does an incredible job, so go and check that one out. Right, this one's Elliot Minor's Solaris, and I think I found this for a pretty cheap price in HMV, so I just bought it to try and have a listen to it. And it's not my favourite Elliot Minor album, to be honest, and it's the only one I own, like physically own. I think the only good one on it is Electric High that I enjoyed. Like, I like the others, but Electric High has just got a better sort of rhythm to it and a better sort of music in the background and things. But I'm not like a fan of Elliot Minor. I just used to enjoy some of the older songs like Time After Time and Parallel Worlds and all that, so I just thought I'd give this one a try. So yeah, go and have a listen to it if you want. Don't if you don't want to. Doesn't really matter. Next one is Fall Out Boy, Save Rock and Roll, and I love Fall Out Boy. Like, the old ones are so good. So I was really sort of hyped for this album, because obviously they went on a split and we never thought they were going to come back. I actually really like it. I mean, a lot of people sort of gave it mixed reviews when it first came out, but I think, you know, the song with Elton John, Save Rock and Roll, the title, that's a really powerful song. I think that's a really good song. The Phoenix, that's one of my favourite songs. It's just like so sort of on beat all the time, and it sort of doesn't die off till the end of the song. It's one of those sort of songs. My Songs, Know What You Did in the Dark, Light 'Em Up, which was the single, the very first single that was released off this album. When I heard that, I just knew that the album was going to be great, because it's just such a feel sort of, yeah, I really want to listen to that song, and it keeps you sort of engaged in it and sort of with the flow sort of thing. Yeah, I like every song, like Young Volcanoes as well, that was released, and that song was even better than My Songs, Know What You Did in the Dark. That's just so, where it goes ah, at the beginning, that's just like, you're in there then basically. So every song is fantastic on that. So well done to Fall Out Boy for releasing another album, because it's what everybody was wanting, I think. Now, this one is Forever the Sickest Kids, J-A-C-K. And again, I've been a Forever the Sickest Kids fan since I was about 14, 15, because I sort of heard them through friends and things. So I got this one, and this is one of the albums that I've actually given 10 out of 10 for, because this is fantastic. Again, every song is on point. It's just fantastically done. And it's one of those albums that wasn't released till ages after the band's done other stuff, but it shows, like, the work in it shows, because it is just so good. Like Chin Up Kid, Keep Calm and Don't Let Me Go, Nice to Meet You Nikki, like all of them. Kick It, Count on Me, La La Laney, I think that's my favourite one, La La Laney. It's just, oh, again, hands down, one of the best albums I've ever heard. And if you're a Forever the Sickest Kids fan, go and listen to this, because it's just, even if you're not a Forever the Sickest Kids fan, go and listen. I mean, I know some of the band members aren't in there anymore, but it's just an absolutely phenomenal album. I would recommend it to anyone, because it's just, oh, it just makes you feel like when it's really warm outside, it's one of those albums you just sit and listen to. So good. I'm getting like too into this here. Right, this is Freeze the Atlantic Speaks Easy. And I don't know where I got this from. I think it was just free with a magazine, so I haven't really listened to it. There's only 5 tracks on. So we've got Volcanoes, Conflict, Losers or the Romance, Broken Bones, This Fight. So I think it's from the Rock Sound magazine, because I used to buy some of the Rock Sound magazines. So I can't really review this, because I haven't really heard a lot of the album. It was okay, like I heard a little bit of it, but not a lot I can say on it. If anyone has heard any more of their songs, I'd love to hear some of them, so you can link me to it or anything like that. We've got Girls Aloud, The Greatest Hits. This is where it gets a little bit cheesy. But I have seen Girls Aloud twice in concert, so. And the Greatest Hits one, again, Girls Aloud just are one of those cheesy bands, but you kind of love, you can't really hate them, because the songs are just really good. Like Sound of the Underground. I mean, people who were like my age when Sound of the Underground came out, that was just like a school disco jam. Like when that song came on, you were just like, yep, Sound of the Underground's on, I'm dancing to that, sort of thing. That was just like one of the best songs. And Love Machine as well. And Something Kind of Ooh, I was really obsessed with that song when it came out. I used to like get up and dance to it and everything. So when I was about 9, 10, whenever this came out, I don't know, 2006. So okay, I was 12 in 2006, but we'll not mention that. So yeah, I think this one's a really good, and I really do like Girls Aloud. I miss them as well. Wish they'd come back and do some more things. And I have Girls Aloud, Sound of the Underground, and I got this free actually, because my mum got it free from her work, so didn't even have to pay anything for this, and it was actually pretty good. This is when I got to hear some of Girls Aloud's older stuff, because I got the Greatest Hits album before this album. So the songs like Love Hate, Boogie Down Love, Love Bomb, Mars Attack and Girls Aloud, they're like my favourite songs on here, because they're just so like upbeat and they just make you want to dance and things. And I just think that's one of the things that I look for in an album, is if the song makes you want to keep listening to the album and just sort of makes you feel good and that sort of thing. I'm not into these albums that make you feel like depressed and stuff. So, and again, the next Girls Aloud album that I've got is the Out of Control album, which apart from the one that they've just done, the 10, I think this was the one before it. And this is my least favourite Girls Aloud one, because it did have some random songs on, like Live in the Country. That was an alright song, but it was just a bit of random, because it had like animal sounds at the end. I know it's Live in the Country, but it was just a little bit out there. And We Wanna Party, and I think Untouchable went on for a long. It was like a 6-minute, 8-minute song, something like that. And I think it went on far too long, in my opinion. So yeah, that's my Girls Aloud selection. So I'm going to leave this as part 1, because the video is getting pretty long. So if you would like me to review any other albums, please let me know in the description. Everything's down there. Yeah, give it a like, subscribe. Please leave any opinions down below. I'd love to hear other opinions.